Welcome back to Autism at Home, brought to you by us at Early Autism Project Malaysia through our non-profit initiative, The Hope Project. My name is Joshabeth Isaacs, and it's so nice to see you again here today. I am here with Yu Chen, one of our senior supervisors at EAP.
Welcome to our 20th Autism at Home series on community trips. The first introduction lesson highlighted the specific challenges that may occur in the community and why. Then in lesson 2, we talked about having a successful eating out experience before grocery shopping in lesson 3. Then in lesson 4, we talked about going to the mall before moving on to playgrounds and park in lesson 5. In this lesson 6, we're going to talk about having a successful trip to the cinema before we end this series with going to the doctor and going to the dentist.
Taking our children to the cinema for a movie can be fun. However, some children with autism may find it difficult to have a successful experience at the cinema. In Malaysia, most if not all of the movie cinemas are located inside shopping malls, which then have its own challenges, which you can go back to lesson 4 of this series to work through with your child. Also, this lesson will be applicable to other similar scenarios such as going for a concert or a musical or perhaps even the circus.
Let's look at some of the challenges of going to a cinema and the skills a child with autism will need to have to be able to cope successfully. We're essentially going over the same 5 community skills but in a slightly different priority order. Firstly, the ability to tolerate particularly the sensory-related areas such as the darkness of the hall, the loud sounds, not to mention surround sound of the cinema, as well as the possible intensity of the brightness of the large cinema screen. A child may refuse to enter the cinema, may close their eyes and ears to cope as well as to avoid. If parents persist with following through, a child may start to cry, scream, and possibly escalate to more upset behaviors. Secondly, would be the ability to cooperate with the expectations required in a cinema, particularly the ability to sit still in a chair for about 90 to 120 minutes depending on how long the movie is, not to mention sit quietly to not disrupt the movie for others watching. This may be very difficult, especially if a child participates in verbal self-stimulatory behavior. Some kids may start to stand up and walk around or participate in other self-stimulatory behavior or upset behaviors. Thirdly, the ability to be flexible. This may possibly apply to more being waiting through the trailers, possibly tolerating changes, or even a no if they want popcorn but it's not available or they are not allowed and there are other people in the cinema eating it. Some kiddos with autism may grab someone else's popcorn or perhaps have a meltdown because they are not able to get what they want. And of course, the ability to communicate appropriately. For example, to ask for a break, ask for a snack, or to go to the toilet rather than participate in other less appropriate behaviors such as dashing off, and the list goes on. And then, of course, lastly, the actual expectation, which would be to line up for a ticket, line up for the snacks, or to tolerate not getting the snacks then to sitting in their seats and sitting throughout the movie successfully, and hopefully enjoying the movie too. Now, you can see how these expectations at the cinema apply to a concert, musical, or even the circus. On our end, we do want to emphasize the need to set our children up for success, and this means a greater emphasis on proactive strategies versus reactive strategies. Essentially, a 90% versus a 10% focus if possible for a proactive. We have preventative and teaching strategies, and so let's start on preventative strategies brought to you by the letter P. Plan your trip, prepare your child, practice at home, pack your bag, and prepare for the worst. And of course, always remembering the 3 key ABA strategies: break skills down, reinforce, and practice.
First, planning your trip. There are 3 simple tips to this. First is to always break down the demands. Choose a smaller hall, less crowded showtimes during off-peak hours, and choice of movie to begin with as well, as just going for a shorter period of time before gradually increasing the time and other demands. Also consider visiting autism-friendly cinemas such as GSC cinemas during their monthly sensory screenings, where there are special adaptations for children with special needs, such as dim lighting so it's not pitch black, as well as lower volume, and the movies are in play cinemas that have a play area for children who need to walk around and have those play breaks. Second is to plan your exact walkthrough, which again involves the parking your car nearest to the entrance and identifying the potential triggers along the way. All this will increase your child's success. Additionally, if it's necessary to get some snacks from the concession counter, it may be best to consider pre-ordering these online so you can just collect them. You could even do this for the cinema tickets as well. This will help you save time and minimize the transitions for your child. Also, as part of the safety measures for your child's community trips, it would be best to alert the cinema management about your child's visits and provide them with your list of proposed assistance, such as maybe having a security team on standby just in case your child wanders off, and perhaps assigning watches for your child at the entrances particularly.
The second P is prepare your child. This essentially covers the key community skills number 5, which is two-way communication. Again, remember ensuring clear communication to your child and ensuring that they know how to communicate clearly to us. How can this be achieved? This includes a social story or video model which communicates the key details for your child to go to the cinema. Then, the visual schedule, which is essentially a clear step-by-step visual guide to help your child understand the flow of the whole trip. A visual rule card is a very helpful tool to have when you are taking your children out. Remember, the basic rules for all community visits include stay with me, listen to parents, and nice hands. But you may want to adapt this for the cinema to be listen to parents, sit nicely, and inside voice. Then, a visual token board which can go hand in hand with the rule card and schedule. At your discretion, you can decide if your child needs a simple rule card or if they are able to understand the traffic light system. At the same time, you need to give your child visuals to communicate to you and again, adapt this to your child's needs. Perhaps it is a pack of toilet or break or snack. This will be much more appropriate way to communicate rather than other inappropriate behaviors.
Then the third P, practice at home. You can simulate a cinema at home. You can set up your TV area, turn the lights off, make the sound a lot louder, and even prepare popcorn. Just remember to follow the same steps you would do at the cinema, which is to read the social story, show the visual schedule, and proceed with the steps of the cinema. And do remember to use that rule card and token board to reinforce as well. And if there is a specific area that's more difficult for your child to cope, for example, not buying the popcorn, you could even simulate this at home as well, which is by setting up a pretend popcorn stand with an X visual over it, and practice redirecting your child to the snacks in their bag. The whole point of these proactive preventative strategies is to actually set your child up for success and to build a tolerance and strength in foundational skills at home first, before practicing in the real situation in the community.
Then the fourth P, pack your bag. The standard backpack a child needs to bring needs to include snacks, water bottle, a change of clothes, sanitizer or wet wipes, and of course activities to occupy your child and to redirect as well. The bag should be labeled clearly in case it gets lost or in case a child gets lost. Also, do put an ID tag on your own child too for extra precaution. Then of course, the usual visuals for communication, which would include social story, visual schedule, visual rules and token board, as well as packs for requesting. Additionally, dough for the cinema would be a jacket or a blanket in case it gets very cold, noise cancellation headphones if necessary, extra special snacks if your child is not allowed to have popcorns, special calming toys such as a soft toy, and the list goes on. And of course, plan a strong reward for your child.
Then the fifth and last P is prepare for the worst. The goal here is to try your level best to, of course, prevent as many challenging behaviors as possible. First, ensure your child's safety 24/7. Using an ID tag or a safety harness or possibly even a GPS tracker on your child can help reduce the chances of those code black situations where a child goes missing. Perhaps also consider going along with another child, especially for a community trip. In the event a child is demonstrating some code yellow challenges such as getting upset and overwhelmed, it would be highly recommended to take them to a quiet area or room nearest to them and take a break. While they are safe there and occupied with some meaningful activities, it would be the time for you to plan your next move, either to try to reattempt transitioning back to the cinema or to call it a day and to head home.
You can also consider letting your child wear the noise-cancelling headphones whilst listening to some calming music to help them regulate themselves better, especially when they are starting to get overwhelmed.
We would also recommend for you to ensure your child is occupied as much as they can through transitions and waiting periods. You can use items like fidget spinners, fidget toys, or a more rewarding item, the iPad as well.
Always remember that if your child is unable to cope through the demands and the trip has to be cut short, it is totally fine. You can always discuss with your family members and identify what were the triggers for your child's behavior. Once it has been analysed and your initial plan is amended, reattempt this and see how you and your child can do.
Next is the ultimate worst case scenario. That's in the event a child goes missing. The first thing to do again is immediately contact the security team and the cinema management, as well as the management team for the mall, and start the search party, as well as checking all the CCTVs to help trace your child's footsteps. While it's very difficult, we encourage parents to try to stay calm and cooperate with the security by giving the clearest description of your child, including what they're wearing on that day, as well as to identify possible locations that your child may have wandered off to. We're advised to usually check water areas and preferred locations first. Again, we strongly encourage you to take as much effort to prevent this from happening, and do go back to Unit 14 on safety for more helpful tips.
Well, we have just covered proactive strategies and reactive strategies, and you may find that your child may still struggle, perhaps because your child has not mastered some of the core foundational skills, particularly in the areas of tolerance, cooperation, flexibility, and communication. We would definitely recommend again for you to apply the 3 key ABA strategies: break skills down, reinforce and practice, and to focus on teaching strategies at home again before generalizing to the community.
Now it's your turn. Assess if your child has all those 5 community skills when going on community trips, and have they generalized these skills outside the home. Essentially cooperation, flexibility, tolerance, two-way communication, as well as understanding the actual expectations. Then go over the 5 proactive strategies and start to work on each of them. Plan your trip, prepare your child, practice at home, pack your bag, and prepare for the worst. Lastly, get ready to head out to the cinema with your child.
Well, this brings us to the end of our lesson on going to the cinema. In our next couple of lessons, we will focus on doctors and dentists. Thank you for your support, and with the amount of interest we have received online, we have actually started providing online services and currently work with clients in other states of Malaysia, New Zealand, Philippines, Singapore, Switzerland, Indonesia, China, and Brunei as well. So do scan this QR code and get in touch with us for more information.
And if you haven't already, do check out our free online resource platform, Autism at Home, which has all the corresponding articles and downloadables for you. And don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel, follow us on Instagram and Facebook to stay updated. Thank you for watching, and we will see you soon.